Is it live? Looks like it's live, yes. Yep, okay, cool. Hey, Milton. You'll have to let me know if you can hear me. Oh, why is that showing up? That's not good. That was so weird. Was that it? Yes, okay. Now it's not showing. Okay. So I think... Hang on, I'm trying to get it set up. Man, technical difficulties yet again. Trying to make sure that it's live onto Launch Party as well. Oh no. Why is it not working? Need to try to make sure I have the chat open though. I cannot see anything. Is that working now? Wonder if that's gonna work now. I'm gonna have to try to figure out what's going on with Launch Party, but for now, okay. How's it going? How's it going? Hello, Nathan. How much art in the works do we have that's not in the primer? So what we have right now, Milton's currently working on a piece that I'm really excited for people to see, but I'm going to hold my excitement and not reveal that yet. So, yeah, we'll just leave it at that for now. But we have a few. I think he just finished one. He's working on another that's like a full page piece, and then we've got something fun. I don't want to give too much away about. That's it's going to be a sort of I guess it'll be a concept art, but he's going to be doing that as well. I need to stop rubbing my hands together so it doesn't make noise. But yeah. pretty much. Oh, it does. I'll have to fix that on launch. Yeah. So quite a few, and then we have so much art planned um, for the SIC on the Backerkit. We've got a lot of art scheduled for that or planned for that. Thank you for letting me know about the. I can't believe I didn't notice that before. Thank you, Nathan. Yeah. So, yeah, pretty much what I wanted to do was a Q&A and just kind of chat with everyone. I know most of the people in here have watched the game quite a bit, or played the game or read the rules quite a bit, but I think we can probably still talk about maybe some stuff that I can discuss for the SIC, like what's to come. I know last time we streamed, we did announce and show off um, the custom signature powers. So I'm really excited for that. And we are working on a small playtest packet. We were trying to get it done just level 6 so that people could start playing with the signature powers now. But I think that's just going to have to wait until the Backerkit and just be a part of our first playtest packet after the Backerkit campaign. So, I need to share the stream with some of the other places that I mentioned. And then as well with Tales from Elsewhere. I need to give it a thumbnail, but this one was a bit impromptu in a sense. I mean, we had planned it about last weekend. We had planned it, but and on cue, Milton just sent me an update of the one that he's currently working on, the art. So yes, the SIC Supers Information Codex. That is like our player's handbook, and so that pretty much will give you all of can I have the chat up here? That will give you all the rules for levels 1 through 20, and also it'll have the custom signature powers rule. It'll have the expanded costume upgrades. It'll have a system. I think we've talked about it before, but power mods. So at higher levels, and we may be changing this with some of the other changes, is that you get to modify and upgrade pretty much your lower tier powers. So like your base powers, your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 powers, you'll get to put mods on those, and that's a way to upgrade them. So that will be included, and then we'll have a bigger list of consumable items. And I think another one that is sort of like wishy-washy what it's going to be is the potential like version of magic items, which we've called artifacts up to this point. It's something that we're not 100% sure is going to be in. It just depends on if the iteration and the way we make them is interesting enough, really. So I'm OCD, so I noticed a slight little thing there. Okay. And then, yeah, that's pretty much it. It's going to have some optional rules as well. We might have some rules for some multiple power sets. It'll be kind of like, don't use this if unless everybody's using it kind of stuff, because it's going to be pretty powerful, more than likely. Like there's no way that's going to stay balanced. We may or may not have that as an optional rule. Might have some optional rules for flying, stuff like that. But I can't guarantee any of this. This is just like Zarek's wild ideas sort of thing. Um, so, yeah, it'll have a lot of different content. You'll have all 10 tiers of powers, all 10 tiers of talents. So, really, really lots of different stuff. When will you pay the next salary? Yeah. Hopefully, we can get you on salary and not lose you to. Well, obviously, I'd be so happy for you, Milton, if you work for Marvel or DC or something. But um, yeah, just obviously, it'd be nice to also have you full time and just doing tons of art all the time for us. So we'll see how it goes. I think I recognize that reference, though. You might have to. You're gonna have to remind me. It sounds familiar, but I can't tell you what it's from. I read it in my head, but not out loud. now, now I did, and I know there's a delay, so you'll see it here in a minute. Um, yeah, thank you, Nathan. I should probably just call you D&D Unoptimized, but um, yeah, I'm really excited for the signature powers. I definitely want to. We're gonna have to start some more play testing. Oh, sorry. Hang on. I gotta respond to Milton. Yeah, Spider-Man 3 when it's angry Peter, emo Peter, I think is sometimes what he's called. But yeah, yeah, um, yeah, good reference. So back to the signature powers, though. Um, yeah, I'm really excited to see those. I definitely want to see where people take those. See some of the combinations that I'm sure are broken with the current iteration. That's why I did want to get. We were working on just a level 6 playtest packet, and working on getting our subscription back up, like a Patreon, but just through our website. And it's just with everything going on, which D&D on Optimized, about. We're just really busy right now to get that out. So I think we're just going to wait and postpone that until after the Backerkit. So that'll be a way to have people continue supporting us while we keep developing the game. And of course, the subscription won't be necessary to get the rules or anything like that. We'll always have the option to just purchase PDFs and physical copies, or an alternative and that's kind of our idea with the memberships, is if the physical book is too much or the PDF is too much, then you can pay a smaller amount every month and get permanent access. And I'm sure we'll have like errata type stuff, so you would get all those updates as well. They'd be live on our website for you to view if you have the membership tier that gives you access. And then we have some fun stuff planned for like sneak peeks at new stuff that's coming. So let's say we're working on a new power set idea. We might give the first couple levels worth of stuff to our members and stuff like that. Yes, Milton, we will absolutely be doing expansions. I've got a list of power sets that is probably never going to be reached. That there's so many, but yeah, we have the next one planned, and part of our backer kit, one of the tiers. This will kind of be a little sneak peek, but um, one person will get to create their own idea and concept for a brand new power set. It won't come in the SIC though, just because we don't want to affect that book and delay that book. And so since we're going to be testing that book and things like that, it's going to be a lot of work to try to also develop and test a brand new whole idea of a power set. And so our first expansion will come with 2 power sets is the plan, which is a lot of content. But for the one person that backs at that tier, we think it's fair to them that we don't delay to like the second expansion, and we have a power set that we really, really want to get out there. So, and that'll happen after we do the Backerkit campaign for once we have the all 3 core rule books out, that's when we'll be doing the first expansion. So once we have the Comic Editor's Compendium and the Thread Index, that's when we'll have the next expansion. Won't be doing anything like that until all 3 rule books are out and people have them in their hands, and then we'll start tossing out the new power set ideas and teasing them, and maybe doing some playtest stuff, you know, kind of like how D&D does their Unearthed Arcana. We'll probably end up doing something like that, where it's just kind of an unformatted document, and it has all the options with those new power sets. They're obviously, with a new power set, it's a lot of content, so I think when we do that, we might just do a small part of it, and then you know, available for free to the public, maybe like up to level 5 sort of thing, and then you know, people who have backed us in the past and got playtest access, or our members that have playtest access, they'll get the full power set with all the talents, because every power set has to come with 5 full sets of talents for each archetype, right? And so a power set is a lot more than just the powers that it comes with. It's also the inherent effect and all of the talents. So I'm really excited for those. We've went back and forth on which one's going to be our first expansion. We have Dark Energy that we've always wanted to do. We actually used to have, I think, almost a full set of powers for that, but I made a mistake and we lost some of our old documents, just when we were doing a backup from Google Drive. So we don't have that full power set anymore, but we're gonna update it anyways. It had a really specific theme of like dark magic sort of vibes and like necromancy. So we're changing that quite a bit. And then we have another one that we're not quite set on, probably like, yeah, good night, Milton. Yeah, it's very late for you, I think, isn't it? Like 2 or 3 in the morning, something like that. So yeah, see you, Milton. Have a good night. I will take a look at that art you sent here before or after the stream's over. And so the second one, or the other idea that we have for the first expansion power set, is probably like a shape shifting, and whether that's like turning into animals or a more loose form of shape shifting where it's kind of like, oh my gosh, Martian Manhunter, you know, where he can just like turn into different shapes and stuff like that. We're not sure. There's a decent amount of overlap with those concepts, like mechanically, but there's also some pretty big differences too. Man, why is the stream thing not working? Oh. Embed. There we go. Copy. Okay, I think I might have just figured out how to fix this. So let's see. Let's see if I finally fixed launch party. It's probably going to take a little bit here. I wonder if it just won't work until... Let's give it a little bit to try to load. I'm going to have to try to talk to Backerkit here and figure out what's going on with the stream feature. Because I thought I had it set up right. I don't know. We'll definitely have to fix that for the next one, because we really want people to be able to, you know, view our streams on Backerkit and see that we're streaming. I'll have to ask them for some help here. But yeah, so I figured we could take a look at the primer if anyone had any questions like that. But looks like don't have too many people. Man, it's frustrating when things just don't work. Yeah, yeah, it's um it's a bit generic in some ways. Where do I go? See chat here. Oh, there we go. Wonder if there's something weird going on with the way I set up the YouTube stream. That might be the problem. I wonder. Okay. Anyways, to answer your question, I guess you didn't have much of a question, but yeah, my idea for shape shifting is probably going to be something of like turning a little bit more specific into like animals rather than just like anything, because it has a lot of overlap with like Mr. Fantastic, like elasticity, Elastigirl type of powers. And I think there's some key differences that we could really show off or have them feel different with the like inherent effects and things like that. So yeah, I don't know. There's a few different ways to approach all of these, right? That's kind of the interesting thing. And that's what hopefully people start making like third-party content, and that is something that we're going to have an open license for. Um, we're absolutely interested in having folks create content for Indominant. And so definitely want to see like how other people even approach power sets we've already made, or maybe they make a power set that we are working on in the background and we release officially, and seeing those side by side, kind of the differences between them would be really neat. So I wonder if I just have too much open. Hmm. Really trying to figure out what's going on with the stream here and why it is not working. Last time I've tried embedding videos in our Backerkit page and had problems. So yeah, it looks like might be the way I started the stream today that's making it not work. Hmm. Yeah, I mean the concept and idea of how power sets overlap is definitely interesting. I think I mentioned it to some folks we were chatting with the other day. What is tabletop? Charles and Frank. Um, if you were to just look at the powers themselves and you remove the inherent effects, there's going to be quite a bit of overlap mechanically. But what makes them much more different and unique and interesting is the inherent effects and then the talents also, right? The talents will really greatly make a big difference in how they play, especially the ones that interact with the inherent effect or like the internally we just kind of call them the like large character mods, where they kind of change your character quite a bit. And so um, those are really what makes every character feel different. If we were to just have the powers, then characters wouldn't really feel that interesting or special. So it's something that seems pretty small at first, but uh, when you look at it, it's in the grand scheme of things, it makes a big difference. So yeah. Is there any other questions you have, Nathan, about some future stuff? Really trying to figure out what's wrong with my. Hmm. Really don't know why it's not working. Hmm. Yeah, for movement like that, that would be probably one kind of like a super speed. I've had some ideas for what super speed in the Indominant universe would be like. You know, it wouldn't be the type of thing where it's the Flash and he's just like teleporting all over. That's, you know, there's no way to balance that. But I've had some ideas for maybe where you have like let's just for now call it like speed force charges, and you can spend them to maybe like increase your movement or just do a burst of movement or empower like make your powers stronger, and maybe each power has a specific effect that happens when you use a speed force charge on it. I know speed force is a um, copyrighted term, so that's why I'm using air quotes there. But just conceptually, that sort of idea. There's 7 people on and they can't see the stream, sadly. Wonder if to fix this, I'd have to stop the stream and restart it maybe. But it's okay. We'll try to have it fixed for the next stream next week. Where you build up speed, and maybe when you get enough, you can move for free after using powers. Yeah, that could be another way you do it, like sort of the opposite of what I said, where instead of starting with them and spending them to move, you could build them up as you use your powers and then spend them to get a bunch of movement, or just do a big free sort of dash where you ignore reactive strikes, things like that. That would be really cool too. Absolutely. And then that kind of would take some burden out of the powers needing to have a bunch of movement built in, because the inherent effect would have the movement covered already. And so we'd only really need to consider the movement that the inherent effect, gives. So that's actually a really neat way. I'll have to write down a note of that. That's awesome. I'll write that as a little concept down next to our other ones. Let me see if I got it. Oh yeah, I got it right here. Yeah, that's really cool. And I think maybe a cool way we could do it is, because I like doing this sort of thing, but where you've got a kind of like ramping effect. So if you save it up and wait till you've built up enough charges, you get like a exponential kind of effect, or maybe not exponential, but it's not just a linear benefit. So maybe if you spend those speed charges when you have like one or two, you go a really short distance. But then if you wait till you have like five, for instance, you go a lot more than just like double or triple that. Um, kind of like what we do with the light energy inherent effect. So you get a linear progression until you hit 5 surging light stacks, and then you get that big extra burst of effectiveness. And so if you really need it in the moment, you can spend before you hit the 5 surging light stacks. But if you store them up and wait until you have 5, then you'll get that extra benefit. So it gives you that decision making where you have to consider, okay, do I really need to use it now to get that extra healing or damage to save my friend? Or do I wait and then hold on to it so that I get that really big effective burst of healing? And so doing something like that with the super speed would be really cool, where maybe it's like you can move 1 unit per um, speed charge, and then once you have 5 speed charges or something, the instead of just being 5 units, maybe it adds I don't know, adds like your control modifier or something like that, some scaling number. That way, as you get higher level, the number of spaces you can move also increases. That's really cool. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. Um, yeah, we're. I don't think you've seen anything about the mods yet, have you? That'd be really cool to get some ideas about the mods. They are sort of, they're not quite as interesting per se as the signature powers, the custom signature powers, but you can add like damage, range, healing, shielding. You can add status effects to them, at least in the current iteration. So they can add quite a bit of interesting utility or effects to your lower tier powers. It kind of brings up your lower tier powers to match with your high tier powers. Yeah, I'll get with Backerkit so we can fix the launch party for the next stream. I'm sure I'm doing something wrong. I'm sure it's not Backerkit, it's me, but gotta learn some point, right? But yeah, maybe what we can do is just kind of scroll through the primer here, or maybe make a character. Might be fun to just make a new character mechanically and just take a look at some of the character options. I need to make sure I can see chat though. Oh, who's this Ricky guy? No, good question, good point. Yeah, let's do that, and just kind of leave the primer on the cover page here. Oh, no, I made it hide. So, oh Lord. I just accidentally opened up a window that I don't want to open. It's going to slow down my computer here, but so yeah, we can talk about some lore. That's always fun. I love talking about the lore. So let's take a look at the pages of the primer with the species in them and just kind of go through them and explain some of them. Okay, let me make sure I've got the chat visible. Oh, why can't I make it bigger? Okay, I guess that's fine. So, to start, I mean the humanoids. So we'll just look at each species down the list, I guess. So Earthlings. I wonder where we got the inspiration for that. No, obviously Earthlings are humans from Earth. Us. The Krigorians, though, they very clearly we state that they created the source of the mythology, around the Sasquatch, Bigfoot, and Yeti, but they're also meant to be sort of a concept for like orcs or a version of orcs. Um, it's not super clear in like this little snippet you get in the primer, but we will have a lot more lore in the SIC as well. So that's another thing that's going to be in the SIC is for all of the player-facing content and stuff that the player characters or the supers would know. They'll have lore available to them to read about that, but they won't get to learn like all the secrets for the comic editor. Um, not in the SIC at least. We'll have a good amount of lore available for everybody, but just not everything, of course. So, yeah, Krigorians, big, hairy monsters, pretty much. They're not monsters though, really. They're civilized humanoids now. On their homeworld, they come from a place where it's like permanent snowstorm blizzards, and they had to live sort of under the surface of the ice, and life was very difficult and hard, and they didn't have a lot of access to food, and so they lived in small groups where they could just had enough hands around to support them and provide like food and get everything done that they needed, but not enough to just have like these massive sprawling cities. And what had happened was a group of Krigorians escaped their planet. They had always aspired to leave so they didn't have to live in that difficult way. And so they're very crafty and intelligent, and they created a spaceship, and it was a pretty basic one for all intents and purposes, like relative to the rest of the universe. And it pretty much just shot them off their planet so that they could escape and try to find a better life, like a last ditch effort sort of thing. And they succeeded, and they landed on Earth, of all places. And eventually, once the Cenarians and the Chromids and Emergil had arrived on Earth, and there was a bunch of different species more than just the Earthlings, they kind of came out of hiding. So it's a little fun nod to the Sasquatch lore and mythos, where they just get seen every now and then. And so in our universe, that's what the Krugorians were. They were always trying to stay hidden, and they were used to living underground, so they lived in like underground networks in the mountains and stuff like that. And then once they came out of hiding, they joined the Intergalactic Defense Council, and they're just another normal intelligent species, and they intermingle with everybody just like they all do. Yeah, no worries. Next, we have for the aliens, we have the Emergil. And this is something that we don't put out there per se, but you can see right here in the primer this little green man reference. So, someone that used to be on our team, Aaron, he gave us the idea for this. I think it was actually his friend Manny, but of little green men. So if you were to flip Emergil to be Legrame, I don't know how you'd pronounce that, but it's the first few letters of each word. So little, L-I, green, G-R-E, men, M-E. And when we flipped it around, it's I don't know, sounds good. Honestly, I've always liked it. So they're pretty stereotypical, what we in our kind of like society view aliens as. They're small, short, they don't have hair, big round heads, things like that. They're very tech oriented. They live on a jungle planet. Oh yeah, that was before you joined the team, actually, wasn't it, Ricky? Yeah, I forgot that. That's where Little Green Men, or that's where Emergil comes from. The more you know, huh? You learn something every day. Uh, are you serious? We never talked about that. I swear I would have said something about that before. But yeah, theirs is pretty simple, straightforward there. The Little Green Men, stereotypical science fiction aliens from like Mars, Martians kind of thing. And then we have the Cenarians. There are play on elves, pretty much. Obviously, they look very different than elves normally do, like in fantasy settings, but they sort of kind of fill that same role. They live longer than humans. They're tall and slender. In our setting, they're very, very tall compared to humans. They're like 7 to 9 feet tall. They're slender. They have 4 fingers. They're very alien compared to humans. They don't fall under humanoids. They have got the like tentacle hair sort of thing, which is kind of inspired from like Mass Effect. That makes me want to share some. Wonder if I can pull up some art, because it's some art that we use quite often. Does that show? Yes, it does, sort of. But so this is another Cenarian. So you can see some differentiation in how they can look. Also, she's got sort of a sneak peek at a future power set, but um, she's got sort of the long tentacle hair, and she's probably, Ricky would have to confirm, but she's, in that 7 to 9 foot range, very tall, slender. I need to move the chat so I can just always read it. There we go. And yeah, they're like our play on elves. There are the Singrad. There's a few different groups of them that just live in different parts of their planet or live sort of different cultures. And so the Singrad, they are mutated Cenarians. They've been exposed to the irradiated moons that orbit their planet, and they've sort of gone crazy. So the Cenarians live a life where they only go out during the day, and even sometimes during the day when the moons are out and the radiation's there, they don't really go out. And so one of the cultures is the self-proclaimed opulence. They stay inside. They do not go outside. They've set up, like mines and things and a bunch of technology so they can stay inside. They've got very pale skin. And it's kind of sort of that like version of high elves, if you will. And then the Agrastalans, they are sort of more of a nature involved culture. Oh, no worries. How's it going, Ryan? Thank you for stopping in. There's no such thing as late when it's a stream. Yeah, we can talk about that. I'll sort of jump through the other species faster. I know I'm spending a lot of time talking about them, but next category is the highly intelligent creatures. We call them high seas. The Geniki is the only species currently known under that category. They are pretty much a lab experiment that became a species. They were so effective at surviving and reproducing that they've spread and become commonplace. And they're also intelligent. Part of the genetic experiments done that created them blended like human and a bunch of other earth animal DNA to create these intelligent, they were really designed to be assassins. And you can't see it anymore, but all of these lore bits that I'm talking about were on our blog. We have to work on transposing all of our old blog posts onto our new website platform. So you can't go read them now, but they will be back up at some point. And so they were designed by this sort of like evil mad scientist lady to be assassins. And then the ones that she had kind of like in captivity, if you will, had escaped because they were intelligent and they learned to speak and they wanted to get out. And so that's the Geniki. They have usually 4 arms and 2 legs. And that does not give them a mechanical benefit of like, oh, I have extra hands. We don't really care about how many hands you have in our system, which will be good for other species types in the future. We can have like octopus people and they don't just get to like do a bunch of extra stuff for having extra hands. Next, we have the Energoid species type, and that's just the Velikan. They came from a planet where their whole species was able to absorb light as a source of energy instead of needing to eat food. So that's like the simple bit about the Velikan. Their home planet has since been destroyed, though, by the Singrad Cenarians. And so the Velikans still exist and are everywhere. It's just that their home planet's gone. The Singrad do not like light, and they sort of, what's the word? They like pray to the god of darkness that they think controls the moons. And so that's the Velikan. And then we have the robotic species type with the chromids. And these are my favorite species. And it's every time people play robotic characters, they do not play chromids. So but they are a species of synthetic creatures. They are intelligent. They come from a living planet called Chromata. Um, and in their brains, if I zoom in here, oh no, I can't scroll to the side. Can I? No. Well, you can see in the kind of skull cavity of this guy, they have a little shard of what's called the unicore, and that's what gives them their life and also connects them to the home planet. And so they're all kind of like in this mental network of sorts. Yeah. So that's all the different species. And then we'll talk about the IDC and the GLU here, but I did want to, I know Ricky just commented on the species type. So yeah, we didn't want you to select a species type based on the mechanical benefits, and that way it's like, oh well, the Krigorians, they're the best for bruisers, so every bruiser is going to be a Krigorian type of thing. We really didn't want that, especially for a superhero game. So yeah, it always makes me sad that people make like a generic robot, or maybe generic's the wrong word. I'm not saying they're boring. I'm just saying they make more of like a standard robot or what we'd expect as a robot, and they don't play the chromids. And I'm always like, oh, it hurts my heart. But I'm sure people will start playing them as we get more people playing the game and stuff like that. So, oh, you're editing a video, Ryan. I just saw that. Nice. I'm excited to see that. I think you're doing. Are you doing like every 10 days or something like that release schedule right now? So is that coming out early next week? Okay, so now to talk about what Nathan asked. I don't think we really have it in the primer. Let me get a little snippet about the IDC and the GLU. I mean, I can explain them, but I just wanted to have something to show. It's okay. We'll jump back to the front page of the primer and then I'll just talk about them. Oh, okay. Tonight or tomorrow. Wow. Awesome. I will definitely be watching. So, yeah, weekly's hard. I'm sure you know. You've tried it. Um, Let me double check. I think there's a little bit, there's a very small amount about the GLU and the IDC, Nathan. Um, like here. Yeah, so we do have a little bit. Let me zoom in just a little bit so it's easier to read. So the IDC pretty much is an entity that serves as like the government in our setting and for all of the galaxies that are currently explored. And so what happened was in, I think, oh gosh, what was the year? It was like 2080, something around there. I can't remember off the top of my head right now. It's been a while. But uh, three alien species, which would be the Chromids, the Emergil, and the Cenarians. There was a joint expedition. They all came from a different galaxy, but the same galaxy. They arrived on Earth and with the intent to meet another species and find other intelligent species. That was the point of their expedition, was to kind of find new places to live and find new peoples to kind of befriend and grow, because they outgrew their planets, and so they were kind of looking to just spread around the galaxy and improve life, have more places to live, things like that. And the humans, the Earthlings, being smart and creative as they were, they sort of convinced these much more advanced alien species to work with them and create the Intergalactic Defense Council. And the sort of bargaining chip, if you will, that the humans used, or the Earthlings, I should specify, used, is that they have they had supers. They already by that time had superheroes in their world. There was this one really smart guy who unlocked this genetic code in humans, and it sort of spawned super powered humans. And then from there, their children, and then other people who were really smart and created like extra um, advanced gadgetry and technology, they were able to become supers as well. And so that's where all these supers came from. And that was their bargaining chip to join the IDC. It was like, hey, we'll supply supers and help your peoples kind of create their own supers or just expand that. And that was how they got their way into the IDC, is they would be like the protectors, sort of like that advanced police force or something like that, if you will. And that's what created the Galactic Legion United, the GLU, or GLU, as we usually say. And so the Galactic Legion United is a private entity that is not tied to the governing body of the Intergalactic Defense Council. And they sort of manage and train supers, supers at least that want to kind of go about things the legal way and be official about, hey, I am a super, I can do what I'm trying to do. Effectively like the police, right? If you just saw some dude walk up to you with a gun and tell you he's going to protect you, it's kind of hard to like believe, right? So the GLU is that form of, I guess, accreditation, where they give supers that power to like say, hey, I am really here to help you. I'm a good person. I'm not just like trying to lie to you and then steal your stuff or, mug you or something like that. So, and that's the GLU, and they are intentionally separate from the IDC so that they, it's that sort of thing where the government isn't necessarily the one with the power, is just how it is in this setting, to like take over society and control everything. So, and in our setting, it's a very like good kind of oriented setting. So just like good old superhero stories, like superheroes are actually good people. They are there to like make the world better and save people and things like that. And so the IDC and the GLU, they are benevolent organizations. The people in them are there to do good and make the world or the universe a better place. And so, it's not really intended to be like, oh, the IDC is like this evil government. They're gonna control us and take away our rights and stuff like that. It's much more about like freedom and happiness and living, everybody being healthy and happy and safe and stuff like that. So, those are the really two big players in the setting. They come up a lot, and the different callings that you can select will interact with them in different ways. If you're a registered hero, if you select the hero calling, you would be part of the GLU. And yeah, the evil government trope is, I mean, it has its place, right? But in our setting, like I said, it's that like kind of like golden age, silver age comic book vibes is what we're going for. So we don't want everything to be about like this, the heroes are evil guys and stuff like the boys and things like the evil government and whatnot. It's meant to be a fun, happy place. Obviously, there's bad things that happen. There's criminals, and there's like monsters and aliens, like evil aliens that might hurt people and stuff like that. So that's what superheroes are for, right? They protect people from the bad things that happen. So, okay. And then who are the big antagonists? So we've got a bunch of different organizations. I'm going to have to wrap up here, get going in a bit, but I'll explain this before we call it. Sorry, my page is loading here. So we've got a couple different organizations, like gangs. So the Bolter gang, they're mostly on Earth, but they are on other planets as well. They're sort of like your low-life criminal thug type of gang people. They are superpowered most often, and that's kind of what makes them more of a threat that a super needs to take care of. You can see here we've got a Bolter thug. We've got some other art that I can show too. So here's Bolter Brute. Here's another character that's one of the Bolters. So just that sort of like motorcycle, leather jacket sort of gang in a lot of ways as well. And then we have the Blood Syndicate. They're another one. I think I asked them already, aren't I? Yes. So the Blood Syndicate is sort of like a evil mafia, dark mafia that's trying to use like espionage and things like that to overtake the IDC and the GLU. And so that's one of the like more major threats in the universe. The Blood Syndicate is sort of always threatening that balance of like, hey, the IDC and the GLU are good. And so we always suggest like if you want to sort of play out the like evil government trope, you can use the Blood Syndicate, but it's not like the entire IDC is evil. It's like, maybe the local IDC branch office or something has been overtaken by the Blood Syndicate, and so they're causing problems within like a city or something like that, or even maybe a planet if it was like higher level and sort of that higher power scale. So there's and there you can see the generic sort of syndicate henchman, very like mafia feel. This is an Emergil one. Something that we really loved about how he did this was like the thick neck sort of thing. Milton made this piece, super awesome. Here's another Blood Syndicate member. So this is another Blood Syndicate character. You can also see some of these threats on, we have shirts. And so some of these shirts, whoops, wrong folder. Here we go. Yeah, so here's the Blood Syndicate guy that we just took a look at. And here is a Bolter Brute. And then this is one we haven't introduced in the primer, but the Synthetica, they're related to the Chromids. They actually were Chromids once upon a time, and they're an offshoot of them, and they're evil. And something it was very difficult for Milton to do. I think it was easier than the regular Chromids, though, but was that square, like cube texture on them. We did that to intentionally be very strictly different. Hang on one moment.
Talk to people.
Oh, okay. Well, you don't have to talk. There's Kiddo. Here's Harper. Oh, see you, Ryan. Have a good night. So yeah, just those are some of the main big threats to the universe. Okay, you go get them. Yep, no worries, Ryan. Have a good night. And then the last really big one. Oh, sorry, let's try to fix that. I need to fix that on the chat moderation. Oh, it's the wind. Yeah, put that in front of the door so it doesn't move it. I saw your message for half a second there. Nathan, but and then the thrall. These are some of my favorite. They're this monstrous sort of fungal parasite creatures. They're all part of a hive mind. The thrall. They're just this interconnected sort of fungal parasite species. Sorry. And so they all have this sort of yellow look, and they overtake people's bodies. Hang on, I'm talking. They overtake people's bodies and minds and stuff like that, and their whole thing is just like spread and consume. And so being infected by one is obviously, it's pretty much life ending. So they're one of the biggest. Okay, honey. I'm talking to people online, okay? I'm doing a stream. And so they're one of the biggest like existential threats to the IDC and the GLU. So far in our current like timeline, they are on the edges of the IDC space. So they're not like throughout the whole universe. Hang on one second. So they're not throughout the whole universe per se, but they're on the edges of IDC space. And so that's one of the more scary ones. And then there's one we don't have art for yet, but they're really cool. And I think we'll have to get art for them sooner rather than later. But the Velorn, they're kind of like the brutes from Halo. So like giant, sort of ape-like in a way, but they are very intelligent as well. Giant, powerful, physical beings, and their culture is sort of like a, power is king, and so they have like the alpha, who's the strongest one, and things like that. They're really cool. I definitely can't wait for Milton to make some art for them. They're all Ricky's kind of idea. That's Ricky's characters or ideas. So he will be the one who kind of heads up that art. So we'll see what Milton and him come up with on that. But with that, I will have to get going here. Thank you guys for joining. Hopefully next stream, which is in 2 weeks, we'll start at the same time. 2 weeks from now, that is going to be fixed. I will make sure, I'll get with Backerkit, and we'll make sure to fix our launch party page where the streams can show up here. So hopefully we'll have a lot more people that way involved. Harper, hey, give me just a minute. I'm almost done, okay, hon? Okay. So, yeah, with that, thanks guys for hanging out and chatting and asking questions and all that. I appreciate it. And we will see you in 2 weeks. Bye.